The most honest man you'll ever meet will lose almost every battle that matters. That's not cynicism, that's Sun Tzu. And before you dismiss this as some Machiavellian nonsense, consider this. Every single day, you're already using deception. You're just doing it wrong. The ancient Chinese understood something about human nature that modern self-improvement gurus completely miss. But first, let me tell you why this matters more today than ever. Picture this. It's 500 BC in ancient China. The Warring States period. 7 kingdoms locked in a death spiral of conquest and survival. In this chaos, a military strategist named Sun Tzu is about to write something that will influence everyone from Napoleon to modern CEOs. But here's what most people get wrong about the art of war. They think it's just about military tactics. It's not. Sun Tzu was writing about the deepest principles of human psychology, the hidden mechanics of how power actually works in the real world. And when it comes to deception, Sun Tzu identified 6 core principles that go way beyond lying. These are sophisticated psychological strategies that, when understood properly, become tools of discipline and self-control. They're about strategic thinking in a world where pure... Sun Tzu's first principle hits like a sledgehammer. All warfare is based on deception. But here's the deeper truth. He's not talking about lying to your enemies. He's talking about something far more sophisticated. Think about the last job interview you had. Did you tell them about every mistake you'd ever made? Every weakness? Every moment of doubt? Of course not. You presented your best self strategically. That's not dishonesty. That's what ancient wisdom calls intelligent positioning. The Stoics understood this perfectly. Epictetus taught that we have 2 fundamental tools, what we control and what we don't. But Sun Tzu adds a 3rd dimension, what others think we control. And that perception, that's pure strategic deception. Here's where this gets personal. You're already practicing deception every single day through what psychologists call impression management. When you dress professionally for an important meeting, you're creating a deliberate impression. When you wait before responding to that inflammatory text message, you're controlling the information flow. These are Sun Tzu's principles in action. But most people do this unconsciously, reactively. They lack the discipline to think strategically about their own presentation. Sun Tzu's 3rd and 4th principles reveal something profound about human psychology. When near, make it appear that you are far away. When far away, that you are near. Offer the enemy a bait to lure him, feign disorder, and strike him. Now, before you start planning some elaborate scheme, let me show you how this transforms your relationship with yourself. The most important battlefield isn't external, it's internal. And your biggest enemy isn't other people. It's your own lack of self-discipline. Here's a practical example that changed my entire approach to habit formation. When you're trying to build discipline, let's say a consistent morning routine, most people announce it to everyone. They post about it. They talk about their new workout plan, their meditation practice, their reading goals. That's exactly backwards, according to Sun Tzu. You're revealing your strategy before you've secured your position. You're inviting scrutiny, expectations, and ultimately, the psychological pressure that destroys consistency. The strategic approach? Build the habit in shadow first. Master it privately. Let others wonder about your sudden improvements rather than watching your struggles. This isn't about being secretive. It's about protecting your psychological space while you develop genuine discipline. Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations never intending them to be published. He was practicing. Most people try to change everything at once. They declare war on all their bad habits simultaneously. Sun Tzu would call this tactical suicide. Instead, you identify the keystone habit, the one change that makes other changes easier, and you focus there with laser precision. This is where it gets interesting. The sixth and most powerful principle is where Sun Tzu reveals his deepest insight about human nature. The supreme excellence is to subdue the enemy without fighting. This is the revelation that changes everything. The highest level of strategic thinking isn't about winning battles. It's about making battles unnecessary. And when applied to self-improvement and personal discipline, this becomes revolutionary. Think about it. Your biggest internal struggles, procrastination, inconsistency, self-doubt, they're not enemies to be fought. They're signals to be understood, information to be decoded. The ancient wisdom traditions, from Chinese philosophy to modern Stoicism, all point to the same truth. Resistance creates more resistance. But here's the strategic deception that most people miss. You're not trying to eliminate these tendencies. You're trying to make them irrelevant. You build systems that work. And here's the deepest layer. All 6 principles point to one meta-principle that applies to everything from daily habits to major life decisions. The master strategist doesn't just practice deception. They become comfortable with uncertainty, comfortable with indirect approaches, comfortable with long-term thinking over short-term gratification. This is what real discipline looks like, not the brutish force of willpower, but the sophisticated strategy of ancient wisdom applied to modern challenges. If this is resonating with you, if you're starting to see the connection between strategic thinking and genuine self-control, then you're ready for the practical challenge. Here's what I want you to do. For the next 7 days, practice what I call strategic invisibility. Pick one habit you want to build or one area where you want more discipline. Don't announce it. Don't post about it. Don't even tell your closest friends. Instead, apply Sun Tzu's principles. Because that's what Sun Tzu really understood. The greatest victories aren't won through force, they're won through wisdom. And wisdom, true wisdom, knows when to reveal and when to conceal, when to advance and when to retreat, when to speak and when to remain silent. Start practicing strategic invisibility today. Your future self, the one with unshakable discipline and inner calm, is depending on it. And if you want more ancient wisdom applied to modern challenges, if you're ready to think strategically about your own development, then you know what to do. The masters are waiting for those wise enough to seek them out. Remember, the supreme excellence is to subdue the enemy without fighting. Your biggest enemy is your undisciplined former self. Time to win that war.